Good morning. I just noticed that this candle has got to be raised. Ah, the heck with it. It is what it is. Oh, good morning, good again. Sorry about that. I should probably start over, but I'm not going to. Oh, there were several directions I could have gone this morning, uh, but I finally chose one that may be obvious to a lot of people. Um, The title is Lisa Harrison Responds to Neil Keenan's Attack on OPPT. A number of people sent me the latest attack on the OPPT, this time by Neil Keenan. Actually, it isn't by Neil Keenan, it's by Michael Henry Dunn, but I understand he's an associate of Neil Keenan. Anyway, who claims to be one of the players in the global chess game of high finances. One of my friends, Robert, from the western part of the United States, sent me an email/chat where he asked Lisa Harrison about it. He said, quote, just chatted with Lisa here was her response. Lisa Harrison, yes, I have seen it and it is full of lies. Lisa Harrison again, Keenan has been after the Indonesian funds for years, and now the Indonesians have gone public saying they now know he is cabal and want to work with OPPT. Lisa Harrison again, he is in damage control. Robert, okay, I really smelled crap when he supposedly said he received a death threat from the OPPT group. Lisa Harrison, Brian might be able to giggle him to death, laugh out loud. And then Robert replies, ROFL, and honestly, I have no clue what that means. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. Lisa again, that is about the only danger he is in from OPPT. Robert, okay, just wanted to make sure the OPP team was aware of this garbage. And Robert replied again, thanks for responding, Lisa. Lisa said yes, and have decided to ignore it as it exposes him more than anything else. Yeah, my mind wants to go to some of the other topics that I had going on in meditation this morning. I've been up for 2 hours again, plus I woke up a little after 2 o'clock, did not fall back to sleep. Anyway, the article has 4 bullets. It says how to tell a scam in 30 seconds. They offer you something for nothing. Oh, folks, everything in the world is created from nothing or no thing. Everything comes from no thing. It's always been that way. That's the world we live in. It's a holographic universe. And it's all created out of thin air. It's the way the banking system has worked. It's the way creation works. And God said, let there be, and there was. It's a consensus agreement, a consensus creation, where we agree that we're going to play this game, and we set the stage, and we create it all from nothing, and then we play act in it. So, yeah, I agree that lots of scams do. I get them all the time in my emails. You won the lottery in Europe, or I'm stranded over here and I need money to help get me out because they won't let me have access to my funds, or my late husband died and left me $5 million, and I'm going to share half of it with you if you'll just provide me some of your financial information and send me some money to help me process it, so I can get the money out of where it is, and I'll give half of it to you. Yeah, these are scams. These are scams. The OPPT is only talking about our value. It's not talking about giving anybody any money, although it did appear that way to many people when it first came out. But I've never seen it as that was what was being promised, although others did, and I can understand where that impression came from. That we were all going to get $5 billion, but we were all worth $10 billion. A misunderstanding. The OPPT, fifth dimensional New Age doing being angels who issued death threats when exposed. I can assure you from my heart that never happened. Nobody in the OPPT that's been aligned with the energy of the OPPT would ever even think of making a death threat against anybody, including the Illuminati, including the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Bush cabal and all of these other players in the global chess game that I referred to in my blurb, in which Neil Keenan is one of those global chess players, supposedly getting these funds from Indonesia, as Lisa responded. It's a retread of the old Illuminati trick, co-opt the revolution from within. Granted. The Illuminati has always infiltrated every movement to gain sovereignty that there has been in the records in our history. They've always been infiltrators of every movement, whether it's a religious movement, whether it's a political movement, whatever movement it is, they get in there and they try to co-opt it. I totally agree. That's the game plan. And the OPPT cut the legs right out from under them because it takes down the very corporation system that has allowed the fraud to be perpetuated on the human race for centuries, at least for centuries. And it takes the legs right out from under it. Now, it hasn't fallen yet because people haven't gotten the message, but it's coming. It's coming, and the process has begun. The awakening continues as people wake up and see the fraud. Now, why would people attack the OPPT? Because, oh my God, if it takes down the corporations, how is the world going to work? The whole world is based on corporations. They've even made corporations out of each individual human being. Because legal fictions can only work with other legal fictions, and corporations are legal fictions, which means all the nations that are incorporated, all the governmental bodies that are incorporated are legal fictions, and they can only have jurisdiction with other legal fictions, so they made all of us legal fictions, our name in all capital letters. Okay? Yeah, it's the old trick. This time, though, with people waking up, the old trick doesn't work anymore. The old warfare games don't work anymore because our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, family, are incapacitating the weaponry. Oh, maybe not completely, certainly not completely, but the big weapons, the nuclear weapons, they're incapacitated. And they've cut off a lot of the retreat paths of the elite so that they can't just get out of it. They're going to have to be held accountable. They don't like that. And people that work for them only see the threat of my economic stability is going to collapse. Well, I got news for you. There is a new world order coming, and the old economic system is coming down. It's coming down. The OPPT reveals that, and people that have been studying this for a long time recognize that it has to come down. We cannot create peace on earth. We cannot create the new heaven and the new earth without bringing down the old system. And that doesn't mean all the people that are involved, because the people are going to have a chance to move into the new system where there's abundance, where there's compassion, where there's forgiveness, where there's love. Because people in the know, people that are waking up, are learning to love everybody. Because we realize if we don't love everybody, we really don't love at all. Somebody used that as a quote. One of my friends, Melise from New Mexico. Actually, my friend Robert is also. I think he's either in Arizona. I think he's in New Mexico also. Um, who's got the gold? Uh, not this is the fourth thing in that article. Who's got the gold? Answer: not OPPT, not Neil Keenan either. Surprise! It's owned by the depositors. We call it private ownership. Hope that doesn't ruffle OPPT's communist feathers. Communism, by the way, just for your information, probably happened in the 1st century AD when the early Christians in Jerusalem primarily put all of their assets together and developed a communal type system. It didn't last very long. A couple people lied about it, claiming that they gave it all, and then they didn't really give it all. And there's a story in the Book of Acts for those of you that want to look it up. Ananias and Sapphira. You can read that story again in the Book of Acts in the Bible, the New Testament. But there's nothing wrong with communism. I know that ruffles a lot of capitalist feathers, and it's not about everybody getting the same amount, whether they work or not, whether they produce anything or not. That's not what it's about. It's about recognizing the equality of everybody and giving everybody a fair chance. Capitalism and communism don't exist in our world, or I should say, a free market society and communism do not exist in the world that we live in. They don't even exist. And neither does democracy, for that matter, exist. Neither do republics exist. What exists is corporations. That's what exists. And it's a fiction. It's a lie. And the OPPT lays the axe to the root of that tree, bringing it down, saying it is in foreclosure, it is bankrupt, which it is. And you can keep on fighting the OPPT if you want. My friend's post, he puts at the end of, this is Robert that I'm talking about, he puts at the end of all of his emails this quote from Arthur Schopenhauer, a German philosopher from 1788 to 1860, who said, "All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident." For those of us that have been in the truth movement for any period of time, and we've tried to find legal remedies or lawful remedies to get free from the corrupt system that we live in, we realize that this is the way things happen. I mean, 9/11 truthers that, for example, that were aware from 2001 that 9/11 had to have been an inside job. It couldn't possibly have been done by Arabs or Muslims hijacking airplanes and going on suicide missions. Suicide is not even, I mean, it's one of the things that's very much frowned upon. There's 2 things that are very frowned upon in the Islamic religion. One is to kill innocent people, and the other is to commit suicide. So the idea of there being Muslim suicide bombers is against their very religion. Now, there's always fanatics in every religion, and the fundamentalists are always the fanatics. They take things literally, and they don't understand the spirit of anything because they don't look deep enough. Everything is surface. Nothing is in-depth reality. And so they tend to go to extremes. All fundamentalists of all religions, and we talked about world religions last night in the wonderful meeting that I was at, and I'm going to be having the one that presented that last night come and present here at my house probably in May. But in any case, all of this attack on the OPPT I've not seen any real substance in it. One of the things is it says that they put everybody in it without everybody's consent. I got news for you. From the conscious mind's point of view, none of us ever consented really to the world that we live in. We didn't. Maybe at the subconscious, well, at the subconscious level, or at some other level than our conscious minds, yes, we did. We agreed to play this game. I think we probably did. But as far as my conscious consent, I don't want to be in a corporate structure world because it's a fraud and I've seen through the fraud. I didn't know it most of my life. I was totally unaware, like most of you. But we wake up. And as we wake up, the Illuminati, which needs darkness, which needs ignorance of the people in order for their plans to work, it all falls apart. It all comes apart at the seams because people are aware of how the games are played. And as far as anybody putting you in something that's without your consent, nobody's going to force you to do anything because that's a principle that is a spiritual law, if you will. My freedom ends where yours begins, but so does yours end where mine begins. Nobody has the right to overrun or force anybody to do anything. That's a spiritual or natural or cosmic law, if you will. And we're going to be operating under cosmic law. We haven't been, because obviously people have been allowed to get away with killing other people and stealing from them and all sorts of other things, atrocities. But that's coming to an end, folks. And the OPPT is not a group. It's not an organization. There's nothing to join, nothing to sign. That's all. Anybody that's claiming that that's what it is doesn't understand it, hasn't read it, and nobody has rebutted it point by point, on and for the record, in any system. And if somebody does, I want you to send that to me. That's something I want to see. I want to see somebody making an honest rebuttal of the claims, because they can't do it. It's unrebuttable. But if I'm wrong, send me the proof. Send me the rebutting of the OPPT filings, the UCC1 filings. Send me the rebuttal, point by point, line upon line. Show it to me. Otherwise, give it up. It's going to come to the place where we all realize that we've been scammed, and we all decide to go in a different direction. And the One People's Public Trust, to me, is a very strong indicator of that reality. Thank you for listening. Namaste.